Welcome to the Contact Center Cactus Chat podcast. So I'm here with Darrell Stern.
Yes.
And I guess what we're doing right now is driving around Phoenix. I want to show Darrell some unique places that he might not have seen before, being that he moved here during COVID, and I don't know if anyone's shown you around. So
there you go.
So, quick question before we drive off. How long ago did you move to Phoenix or Scottsdale?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
In
Okay.
October 15th, it'll be 3 years. I moved in the height of COVID, October 2020.
Have you explored much around Phoenix, like outside of Old Town
I've been to
Scottsdale?
Talisman West.
Okay,
I've been
Talisman
to the
West.
zoo. I've been to all the shopping malls because I'm a mall rat from New Jersey.
Okay.
So right away I know where all the malls are.
Okay.
That's what I went through Thursday. And then Sedona a lot.
But like around, let's say, like downtown Tempe, downtown Phoenix, have you done?
I've been to the touristy parts, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, the main street in Tempe where all the
Mill Avenue
bars
and stuff,
are and
okay.
stuff. Yes, I go to the main street.
Okay.
The shopping mall area.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, I don't know the hidden anything of anything. This could be our YouTube channel. Hidden treasures of Arizona driving around.
Yeah. I've always actually wanted to do a show where it would be in a vehicle, I'd interview people, and I have one of my clients, VIP Taxi, you know, they have videos playing in the back of all the cabs. So I wanted to have
you
this
need to
play.
have cold drinks and heat in a car conversations.
Yeah.
You know the way there's comedians and coffee or whatever it is, or cars and coffee or whatever that is. Jay Leno has a show, and then Seinfeld did it too. Comedians in a car for no reason, whatever that show
Yeah.
is.
No, I know.
It's hysterical. They
And
shoot the whole thing with like 6 cameras mounted on the car, and it's really professionally done. And the one he did with David Letterman was really funny. They're just driving around.
Yeah, so something like that. You know, some of my ideas I have include, you know, going and checking out local businesses and restaurants and interviewing like local,
Sure.
you know, big people. But then also
Sure.
maybe we stop by a dispensary and you know,
We could
smoke some weed before.
we could do that.
during not on this podcast.
You
but
do the weed, and I'll give you like quizzes afterwards, and we'll see. We'll do a quiz beforehand, and then we'll take a quiz afterwards and see how good you do, and then we'll prove that marijuana actually has effect on your ability to do math or something like that. So I picked to live right near the giant mall, you know, and I figured, well, you know, this is the Ritzy Pitsy area or something where I really didn't know, but Fountain Hills is more, and then I'm hearing Paradise Valley and all that kind of stuff. But at first I was in Industrious, which is in the mall.
Yeah.
They put you in a glass box, which is not good because I'm not the neatest person, you know, on my desk, and like they're looking in there like, what? And I had just moved in, so I was just shoving like suitcases and whatever, and eventually they're like, whatever, like, you know, that's not good. But they had free snacks. So for the $1,700 a month or whatever ridiculous amount it was, you could have all the cheese sticks you want while you were eating, which to me, I mean, that costs a lot. So I've been all around here to all the restaurants here. I know every corner of that mall. I like the way there's one of the few malls that actually goes across the street and you don't realize it when you're in the mall. Like when you're in there, you don't realize you're walking across the street. It's so enclosed and there's no windows out. It's all stores in there, so you don't even realize it.
I've gotten so lost in this mall, and I've, you know, because you end up like, in a completely different part of the city almost.
If you go up to Denver, there's a mall called the Cherry Creek Mall that has branches in the east, the west, the north, south parking lots. And as I was getting divorced and driving from from Vegas back to Kansas, I stopped at that mall in Denver, and I got so lost and I was hysterical. I was like, I got my car. It was really funny. Like, I couldn't find my car.
Yeah, I couldn't remember what parking garage it was in, and then I think I was in the right garage, but then I couldn't remember if it was like what floor I was on, so.
Okay, here's my first question, the first urban legend about Arizona, okay? So I came here, I see the palm trees. I said, well, palm trees are tropical, they need a lot of water. They're in Florida. They're not in the desert. Then my friend says, no, palm trees don't need a lot of water. And my other friend says, well, what they're doing is they're watering them in tubes underground. So any of this true? Or well, how the hell are there palm trees in the desert? I know they must be imported.
Yeah, I mean, there could be yes to all of the above. There are native palm trees here in
there are native palm trees in the desert, really?
In Arizona. In fact, it was something I read about. There's a part of western Arizona near the California border.
Well, that's California palm trees that just like hopped the border because the taxes were too high.
But they've been there for hundreds, who knows how long, but they're there. They've been there for forever.
All right. So in other words, we don't know. The answer is we don't know.
I'm sure some of these varieties have definitely been brought in outside of.
Well, Scott, I mean, they're planted. They're landscaped. I mean, I can tell that.
And how they
But
water,
like here, I don't know.
like it's just a method of watering the trees out here. You could put little tubes in the ground, and supposedly it helps, get the deeper into the roots. The thing I do is
hydroponic.
I run the hose on low for a day. I'm watering my orange trees right now, and it's worked for the last 10 years I lived in my house.
Okay, now orange trees are in Florida too. How you have orange trees in the desert?
They like places that are warm in the winter, or it doesn't freeze.
I guess so, yeah.
So places like California, Arizona, and like Arizona used to have the 5 C's. We used to be known for the 5 C's for climate, citrus, cotton, copper, and cattle. But citrus was one of the 5 C's.
I had no idea. I knew copper because I went to the Grand Canyon and I heard the story about how they were mining it, and the copper, they found 97% pure copper, but then they had it at the World's Fair and then the price plummeted. So that was the end of mining in the Grand Canyon, but then the guy made the first hotel. He said, well, let me just make a hotel here, call it tourism. And they would take the people from Flagstaff, take them a week or whatever on horse and carriage to get all the way across the top of the state. Mm-hmm. And that's how the Grand Canyon became, national park and da-da-da. And it actually became a national park the same year that the state was incorporated. So this, I think, is the only 20th century state in the continental United. We're the last state. We're state 48.
Yeah, state 48.
Yeah, there you go. So there's 50 states.
1912 was when we were incorporated.
Yeah, exactly. So before that, for an entire century and a half, it was the wild, wild, wild west.
We're driving up Camelback Mountain right now. One of the most popular tourist places, I guess. There's people that love to hike this thing, and people that kill themselves every year trying to hike it because they try to go when it's 115 degrees. So now the city,
that's silly. You could start in the morning if you got up super early, but if you're halfway up and it's getting to be 10, 11 o'clock in June, July, August, November, December, not November, December, whatever, then you're screwed. So then we're actually going up the mountain. So this would still be Scottsdale, though.
This is actually Phoenix. So we're in Phoenix, and we're in the Arcadia neighborhood. It's all
this is the streets. Arcadia. Yes, I've heard.
But there's beautiful, nice views of downtown Phoenix.
So you can't see this, though, because the camera is only showing.
Well, I have a camera up on the roof of the car, so.
All right, so take a look around. Cue the music. Bam, 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 bam. There you go. That is awesome. You can see all the way to downtown. I've never driven up a mountain like this.
This is a fun spot to drive up, and it's nice to see the homes around here, they're super unique custom homes. Like super unique.
I've seen these from a distance, but I haven't driven up closer to them.
And then I come up here to shoot like the dust storms coming in, or like lightning, thunderstorms coming in and stuff. So, and I'll run into other people up here trying to do the same thing. So I'll end up chatting with other people that are here just to watch it rolling in.
That is a cool house. The house is on like stilts, and then it's up on the glass. That is super cool. Let's just pull in and knock on the door and say, hey, we're podcasters. We want to interview you on your great house. We'll have to make them a new design, like Interior Design Extravaganza Express.
I know.
That's our new podcast, so we can go in these people's houses. Yeah. See, there's construction.
Yeah, and there's a couple, like I think in the 60s, people were kind of getting upset that there was homes being built on the mountains, so they ended up preserving the majority, like people wanted to build all the way to the top. So what you see here is a height limit. That is a castle. That is a legit castle, yeah.
Holy crap.
And you can see these from down in the city. If you look up, you can see all the different houses, like the castle one.
That's cool. Now I know where to target with my direct mail campaign. Like every address going up this mountain.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
Camelback Mountain touches 3 cities: Phoenix, Paradise Valley, and Scottsdale.
Oh, so it's like 4 corners,
Yeah, the majority of the mountains in the borders of Phoenix, and so the trails and the city park and everything, it's all run by City of Phoenix.
So the borders of Phoenix are mountains, is that what you're saying?
For this part of the...
this part? Okay. On this side?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's really cool. I've never been up there. That was super cool. So we're not coming up the same way we came down. Down the same way we came up, right?
Yeah, this is another part of... We're coming out a different part of the city.
That's it. So if you ever want to go up to the top of Camelback Mountain, get on... I don't know. There's no
that was 56th Street. And we're driving back down Arcadia, and there's all kinds of little streets you could explore around here.
Right. And Arcadia is where the video arcade was created, and the first Pac-Man game went in, right?
Oh, really? Is that true?
I just made that up, because it's Arcadia. Why would you call it Arcadia?
I don't know why they call it Arcadia, but I can tell you that Steven Spielberg grew up down the street from here.
Really?
He did. He went to Arcadia High School.
He
did his first film premiere out in it was called, I think, the Phoenix Theater that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, wow.
But shortly after that first premiere, he moved to California and never looked back.
I did not know he was an Arizona native. I met him because I auditioned for the movie The Goonies.
Okay.
I met him in New York City on Park Avenue, and Mike Fenton answered the door. He was the casting director for all the movies. If you look at Indiana Jones, you'll always see casting by Mike Fenton. That's the guy. So he did the casting, and he opened the door, and he said, "And now meet Steven Spielberg." They actually put on like a show, and he comes out with his dark sunglasses, his signature dark sunglasses, and I'm petrified. But I talked to him for a bit, and then I got a call back to be the role of Chunk. If you ever watched The Goonies, which is now a cult classic film, there's a kid that's very overweight that just like is stuffing his face in the whole movie.
That would be you. Wow.
That is cool. That mountainside is cool.
Yeah, there's the road is called Camel Head, and so you could drive up there, and there's more to explore. And if I had more time, I'd show you more around there. But otherwise, it'll be limited to just that mountain.
Listen, this is just episode 1. You have to tune into the other episodes of this podcast to get the rest of the other side of town. So this is just part 1, guys.
All right, so we're coming up to Camelback and 44th Street. This is one of the, just like where you're at, Camelback and Scottsdale Road, this is also one of those, high-end, glitzy corners.
Yes, and even the banks here look like desert oasis.
This is like a really historic, cool building that they better never tear down. But, so interesting thing about this intersection is...
you can go on a red light. Or maybe you can't, but
I stopped after a stop.
Oh, you did a California stop. That's a California stop.
Yeah. Well, if you ever heard of these restaurants, Flower Child?
Flower Child, I went to here first, but there's one in Denver. But somebody here, one of my clients here, took me to this before I moved here. So yeah, Flower Child is a cool store. And
then there's a number of different restaurants. This is the
if
Phoenix
you want to
Suns.
really shoot videos and stream, you gotta stand right next to the 5G building because then it's fastest. Of course, half your brain will turn into mush.
So to your right is the Phoenix Suns practice facility. So you'll be able to catch Devin Booker and Kevin Durant and the rest of the team. See, Phoenix Suns personnel only, so can't really.
Oh wow!
I've got to turn around in here.
You're taking us right to the place where we can't go anywhere. So literally, people from the Phoenix Suns live in this apartment.
I don't know if they live there. They could live all over, but they wanted to put the practice facility close to where the players live around here. All right, we didn't talk much about your acting career.
Okay,
have you been doing acting your whole life? You mentioned some of the movies that you've been in. I know you.
So I'm deaf in one ear. I guess the story my parents tell you, who knows, whatever the parents tell you the stories. So supposedly I was kind of shy, or I wasn't developing talking right or something, who knows. So they put me at the Vern Fowler School of Dance, which is still there in Colonia, Island, whatever, New Jersey. And it was run by Vern Fowler, who was already in her 60s or 70s, in the 70s, right? Mm-hmm. So she goes back to vaudeville. And if you know Broadway in New York, like in the 30s, 40s, 50s, it was Ziegfeld Follies, Give My Regards to Broadway, like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Top hats and dancing and stuff. Yeah. So I started there, and then because we're in central New Jersey, only 25 minutes out of New York City, some of the kids, their parents got them agents in New York City to start going in and audition. Okay, so I was a shy kid. They put me in musical theater class. Mm-hmm. That was kind of very vaudeville. Grease Lightning had come out, so we were all doing the Grease Lightning. John Travolta, that was it. Mm-hmm. In the 70s, that was he was the king of the dancing and all that. Saturday Night Fever, of course, before that. That's a little bit more of an adult movie, but still disco. All right, so my father was my first talent agent. They were doing the play Pippin, which has a little boy role in it. So my dad was like, my son will be in the part. That was it. Told him what to do. So I was in this show. And I memorized the whole show. I was correcting them when they messed up their lines. I knew every stage direction. I knew everything. So I was in that show. And then my dad knew somebody at college that was doing the playbill, which is the artwork for a play in New York City. Went and auditioned to that, did that. That was called The Desperate Hours. It's a play written in the 50s. Very strange. About a family that gets held hostage, right? And has to survive and not get killed and all that. Very weird. And then I got an agent in New York City, or a manager, terrific talent, Marianne Leone, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started auditioning in New York City. So I was an understudy at Joseph Papp's Public Theater in a play called Three Acts of Recognition. That was the name of the play. And in that play was the one-armed man who was the EPA asshole in Ghostbusters.
Okay.
All later. So you got to understand this is 81, 82, 83. Just before 85, 85, and all these movies and everything came out. So all these people were working actors. Then I was in Moliere's Don Juan at the Delacorte Theater in New York City. Roy Brooksmith was in that. He was in the first Total Recall movie. He was a very redhead he was a very heavy guy. And he talks to Schwarzenegger in Total Recall, and he starts sweating, and that's how Schwarzenegger knows it's not a dream, because he sees real sweat on the guy. Okay. I know all these little things. So then also Kelly McGillis was in it. She eventually went on to be in Top Gun, the first Top Gun movie. And this actor that was the one-armed man in the Fugitive movie, if you ever watch that, he has one arm for some reason, the murderer or the guy, whatever, who really did it or something like that they think, Harrison Ford did it. Okay.
So you ended up being in a play that just had a lot of talent. People went on to do a lot of things.
It's kind of funny. They were all maybe in their 20s. I'm in my teens, right? So they're like 15 years to more or older, or 20 years older than me or more, right? And then they went on to do all this different stuff. Now at the time, I didn't realize it. I didn't realize when Top Gun came out that Kelly McGillis was in the show I was in 4 years ago. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't meet everybody, write everybody's name down. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't connect on Facebook, whatever. So then I auditioned for a TV commercial for the Ms. Pac-Man Atari cartridge. Atari had come on the scene. Atari was the first multi-billion-dollar electronics company. It all started with video games, not computers. Really, it was video games.
Yeah.
So I was in the thing. All I did was do a deadpan look. So a deadpan look is like this.
Yeah. That was all you did?
Yes, I was demonstrating it. So, and the directors would all crack up laughing, and I just stare, and I had this way, I could just make my jaw feel heavier and heavier, and just like it's pulling down. So the commercial goes, "She's the most exciting woman I ever met." And I just go, "Yeah." That's it. So that was under In the Winds of War. You get paid residuals every time it's on the air, depending on how big of a network it is, and da-da-da. So I go to the mailbox, and I get a check, and I give it to my parents, and it's for $8,500. Right? In 1982. So my parents are like, "Well, yeah, the theater stuff is cool, but maybe we'll send them in on more commercials."
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you at this point?
Well, I'm from 71, so right now I'm 52, and it's 2023, so you got to subtract my age is 1 year less than the decade. So this is age 10 to age 20, right? Then by the time I was in high school, half of 10th grade, I wasn't in public school. I was in the workshop for a Broadway play called Smile, a musical, that was written by Marvin Hamlish. He's the guy that wrote A Chorus Line and all the others, one of the big Broadway musicals. And the guy who wrote the lyrics for it was a gentleman by the name of Howard Ashman. Howard Ashman, before that, wrote Little Shop of Horrors, Suddenly Seymour, that. And then in that play was the guy that ended up being the captain on SVU for the next 15 years. The bald guy that was the police captain on SVU.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite show. So.
I've been watching that since. It's the longest running gosh darn show ever, and the formula of it, all those SVU shows, or all those, what is that called? Law and Order.
Yeah, they have
everybody likes a good crime show, a good cop show. So anyway, so then I didn't make it on the Broadway show again. The kid that replaced me was Andrew Cassess, who I'm still friends with. He was Wormser in Revenge of the Nerds. Okay, who just told me this? Oh, my other new client told me that's ASU. Now I gotta go watch it back and watch Revenge of the Nerds. That's ASU that they're at.
Oh, that's
it's
funny.
Arizona, yeah. And anyway, so because my mom was talking to his mom about it, so I gotta go look this up now and find the movie. Because what the people do now is they'll take the movie freeze frame and then they'll go take a picture of it, like where it is, what it looks like now, 20 years later, or 50 or 30 years later, maybe 30 years later. So, okay, so then that was kind of like the height of that. Then I did, of course, high school choir. I was Amos Hart in the musical Chicago in junior year. One of my buddies from that, John Roberts.
You did musicals then, too.
Yeah, I singing and all that, yeah. So he was the John Roberts is on Burger Guy. What is it called? Burger? Oh shit. There's a cartoon. It's like The Simpsons. It's called Burger something.
Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, he's one of the voices on there.
Okay.
He graduated high school with me. And then I went to college at Drew University, and all I was doing was playwriting. So the acting really stopped. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, college. But then the last TV thing that I did was 1996. I was in a TV commercial for Hardee's, which out here is called Carl's Jr. Yeah. So the commercial, there's a general in the army, and he goes, "Who's dumb enough to take this big bomb and carry it through this minefield?" And we're all being really dumb. So I go, me! So that started to air, but then in 1996 in Atlanta at the Olympics, there was a bomb scare. So all of a sudden, here comes the change. No, it was politically, here comes what's going to be 9/11 5 years later, like this politically correctness, and we're not going to make, jokes about people blowing up anymore, I guess, or whatever. Darn it. You can only do that on Bugs Bunny now, I guess, when you watch reruns. Wile E. Coyote, where his face gets blown up. So,
yeah.
That was that, and then from 95 to when? Well, I met my ex-wife in 98. Yeah, so then I really didn't do it anymore. But from like 94 to 95, I guess 96, I was doing stand-up comedy. So I had a little slip of my paper in my pocket from Showbiz magazine, which is the New York City magazine where you look for all the parts and the auditions and da-da-da. And it said do stand-up comedy. So it said the teacher is Steven Rosenfield, who writes for David Letterman. He's in a comedy writing for this and that. Oh, I had an internship with Andy Breckman. Okay. Andy Breckman thought of this idea for an obsessive-compulsive detective. What show is that? You know what it is. He's an obsessive-compulsive disorder detective. It's called M-O-N-K.
Oh, okay.
Monk.
Yeah.
So he thought of the idea. He didn't write the show. But since he thought of the idea, these other guys ran with it, he has created. So if you look at created by, it says Andy Breckman. There was a movie that came out called Rat Race, which was kind of like Cannonball Run. Now I'm dating myself, really, back to the 70s, 80s movies. So he wrote that. So I interned with him. And he told me this. He told me there's two ways you can do it, life, right? You can be an artist and be poor. Or you can give your idea to someone else. They'll completely ruin it, but they'll pay you a lot of money. Right? And that's basically how Hollywood works. They'll buy the idea from you, right?
Turn it upside down.
And then they'll turn it upside down, hire 16 other. Yeah. And if you ever watch the Flintstones live action movie, there's an example, because it's horrible. But when you watch it, I always say, look at all the writers they had. And if you see this whole list of writers, that's why. Because one person didn't follow it through, and
too many cooks.
Too many chefs in the soup. Show business, and then the Hardee's commercial. That was the last commercial. Then I did comedy. Then 99, I decided to go do website design and get my first job working for that real estate agent guy. And then the next year I was working in corporate at a big international software firm, and that was it. Right? So it went all the way to age 29.
So when did you strike out on your own? And because you said you're working for a big corporate place, and so at some point now you're not working for some big corporate place.
Got it. The whole time that I was at SyncSort, that was the name of the company. They're still there. I think they got bought up by something else. SyncSort is a software company that made an what is that called? Not an algorithm, a mathematical formula that could sort data faster.
Okay.
So back in the days of mainframes, when they were the size of cabinets, the sales guy would go out and go, okay, run the IBM, that was it, right? IBM sort.
Yeah. And
run SyncSort. And SyncSort would finish faster. So if you can imagine, you're searching in a database of Verizon for phone records. You realize how many phone records, billions of phones, whatever, billions of calls, right? How are you going to sort that data out and get the information faster? You have to have a faster running algorithm to sort it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So
it was like the early days of, trying to not to do more, get out of Excel and start
so
doing
they were
more.
The first ones to have a patent on computer software.
Okay.
Because they actually invented a different algorithm way. I don't know what it was. Okay. So that was my first corporate job. My whole time, my mom had cancer. It went into remission, and we came back, went into remission, And then by October was when she had the big operation where they really, tore her up. And then by November, she passed away. And then I found out afterwards that I could have taken a non-paid leave of absence. So believe it or not, my mom died on a Thursday and I went back to work on Tuesday. Oh, you know what I mean? I just didn't know what to do. I thought, well, God, I got to get back to work. My manager started doing this. Oh, well, you're late. Oh, you weren't in the meeting. You know what I mean? I'm just trying, messed up, right? And she starts all of a sudden because her manager's on her ass. Because normally,
she
who
can't
cares?
Stand up for her employee.
Nobody was really, it was very, laissez-faire or whatever. But I did really good there. I was one of the only people that I could explain to tech people what we wanted to do in marketing, explain to the marketing people what the tech was all about. Yeah. And kind of communicate back and forth. And then when she passed away, by January I got married, and then I told them February 14th, I think it was.
It's a Valentine's Day.
I said, I'm quitting.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
year?
January 2003. We're exactly 20 years into me running my own business this year.
Congratulations.
I made it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to make it, but I made it, 22 whole decades working for nobody but me. And somehow I'm still here, so. Just keep meeting new people and all that.
Yeah, you ripped yourself out of your network in the East Coast and...
Yeah, so again, like that, I threw away the theater stuff. I threw away comedy. I threw it all away. It wasn't until 2016 then, so I'm at another almost 15 years, then I started doing the videos, right? And getting back into the theater aspect of this, and now that I get to sit in a director's chair with you, which we're going to do, and I'm going to go, okay, now the other side, now tell this story, tell this story.
Yeah.
It just took me home. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing what I was doing when I was 3, and that's what really brought my life all together. So I always say, that thing that you threw away, I don't care if you used to make remote control cars or whatever, like you're still tinkering with the electronics and stuff of your father, that's good. Keep that.
Yeah.
Be the guy that's you can even take this and like review the latest equipment. You know what I mean? Like keep playing with the toys that you like to play with. Because when that all can continue on in your business, it's much more fun than doing something that's like, oh my God, I hate it.
Yeah.
So you can stop here.
Well, I got a car behind me. I was going to say.
And we'll be back for episode 2 of we're just going to drive around, teach you about Arizona, and interview someone at the same time.
So we hope you like this episode. This is actually really
good. No, but this is a good idea for a podcast, dude. This is very good. Like we got into it last night, and then if you videoed it, I like it.
Yeah, so we'll see. You never know. I mean, like you said,
Darrell Stern is on the premiere episode, though. This was the best one. This was the one that launched his career. Remember that, Darrell Stern.
Well, I appreciate your time and driving around. Hope you enjoyed the milkshake. And if people, if they're listening, they're like, yeah, you know what? I've been doing video stuff, and or I need to grow my business. What you described is where I'm at right now. I'm not a startup. I need to get this thing going. How do they get in touch with you? How do they find out more?
Sure. So I'm Darrell, which is the French spelling for some reason. Stern, Stern, and then you can go on there and find me on LinkedIn. You can go to stern.marketing, see all the testimonials and stuff. I just dug through all this old stuff. I got ones going back to 2013, like all the way through and all that. Anyway.
I think every business owner is guilty of this. I mean, I got testimonials.
You know what I mean? And we don't stop to
read.
rejoice and look at what we've accomplished, because business goes up and down. It's a roller coaster.
So true.
Let's do another episode on that, because I don't want to go over and hit it. But yeah, you go there, you find me all over the interwebs. I have some free classes and stuff at storming.com too that you can download and stuff. And I'd love to talk to you. If you are a gift to the world. There's something inside of you, and everything that you've done, good and bad, is like an amazing story. And if you stop just focusing on the business, I gotta sell the business, and believe it or not, and let go of that, you'll sell a whole lot more just by being yourself.
Yeah, so, and you'll see some content we'll come out with, working with Darrell as well, so.
Woohoo!
Yeah, you'll get to see some examples of that.